Hey, good evening everyone. Welcome to Thirsty Thursday. So every Thursday I show up here in the I'm Her Inner Sanctum to have the conversations with you that are piquing your curiosity, but we don't have a lot of safe and wholesome and educational spaces to turn when it comes to all things inquiry based about female sexual pleasure and anatomy. And so tonight I wanted to have again the conversation around female ejaculation or squirting, what it is, and if you are experiencing it, how and why. And if you're not experiencing but you're curious to see if it's something that might be possible for you, some tips and tricks on how you might like to explore that for yourself. So I'm also going to use this opportunity to reveal for the first time in a educational capacity, not just a look at the new thing capacity, my new clitoris. So what we have here is a vulva, and let's see how long it takes until Facebook deletes this video because I have a vulva here. So we have a vulva, and I love this particular, the lighting's gonna keep going out of me. Joy. Let's see how we go. So there are different attachments that haven't got attached to show the different beautiful, unique, natural designs of the labia. So I've got two examples here of different labia, including this one. It was really cute. I showed this to my daughters this week, and my daughter's like, show me, Mom, show me. And then my youngest like, oh, mine's like that. And I thought, oh, that's lovely that she's, seeing herself represented through educational things and can open up those conversations. So this is the vulva. And for those of you who may not be aware, we've got the glans clitoris at the top. We've got the little purple hole in there is representing the urethra, so that's where you urinate from. And the bottom opening here is the vaginal canal. So when we're experiencing female ejaculation or squirting, it is because of stimulation applied to certain spots inside the vaginal canal. It is not pee, it is not coming out of the urethra. It has nothing to do in terms of fluid excretion from the clitoris, but the entire arousal of the yoni, the external and the internal, can definitely have a role to play in the journey to ejaculation. So if I was to take this off, oh no, my clitoris fell off. This is what the clitoris looks like in its entirety. So you've got the glans clitoris here, you've got these big clitoral arms, and then you've got these vestibule bulbs here, which sit either side of the vaginal canal here. That's what that represents. I love to show this because when we are aroused and our erectile tissue is engorged and blood is flowing as it should and needs to for our arousal to build, you can imagine that this starts to swell and take up shape. These begin to get larger. They apply different stimulation to the vaginal canal, and little messages are sent to little excretion points within the vaginal opening to excrete lubrication. So when you are wet, that's the process. It's this whole arousal process, right? And it takes time. Women can take time. That is okay. So when it comes to the squirting experience, it happens inside the vaginal canal. And this is not going to give me a really good indication of how to show you inside a vaginal canal, but I'm going to use my fingers and I'm going to just apply some surgery and remove my clitoris for a moment. So I want you to imagine that this is representing the vaginal opening. And on the inside of the vaginal opening, so on your longest finger, normally it's the middle finger for most people, but on your longest finger, the first knuckle down, just inside the opening of the vaginal canal is the G-spot. And if you just for a moment run your tongue along the roof of your mouth, that rigid, textured feeling on the roof of your mouth is approximately the sensation of what the G-spot's going to feel like. So you're feeling for those rigid, textured things. And about 1 knuckle deep, that's the G-spot. Behind the G-spot, let me just turn my dodgy Kmart light back on. Behind the G-spot, so the second knuckle deep, you will be reaching a point of your anatomy called the Skene's gland. And it is the Skene's gland which is responsible for excreting the fluid that is commonly referred to as female ejaculation or squirting. So if I do bring back my little, if I just reapply this. So the Skene's gland, if you can imagine the Skene's gland, we'll take that off, is those 2 knuckles deep, right? So when we're having penetrative sex, if we can imagine that, I take that off for a minute. If our finger is representing being inside the vaginal canal and we're having penetrative sex, this is the urethra. So we have inside the vaginal canal this Skene's gland that fills with fluid to protect the urethra. So toy or male anatomy comes into the vagina and pushes in, and we actually have this gland on the inside, the Skene's gland. It fills with fluid and it protects the urethra from that penetrative motion, from the impact. So it's that fluid, when it is stimulated in certain ways, it can release. And we can have squirting, or actually what's pretty common is this gushing feeling. Now, it is not pee, but it does contain a little bit, small percentage of urine, because it's quite literally tissue that's on the inside of the vaginal canal rubbing against the urethra, protecting it. So there is, when you cross barrier through the tissue, there will be some trace elements of urine in there, but it is not pee. You're not peeing yourself. It's not coming from the bladder. It's coming from the Skene's gland. And the Skene's gland can keep refilling as well. So it's why if you do experience squirting or gushing, it can keep happening if the stimulation keeps going. So to find this, to just go through that again, the first knuckle deep inside the vaginal canal, G-spot, and that's feeling like a little bulbous ridge, like the texture on the top of your tongue, top of your mouth. That's the texture of the G-spot. And then when you go a little bit further down to the second knuckle and you're rubbing up within the vaginal canal, you will be stimulating the Skene's gland, and it feels really soft and really pillowy and squishy. So to then stimulate that, and it works really well with 2 fingers so that you're covering the entire surface area of the Skene's gland, is you actually want to do, I'm just going to bring this back. So you want to come in to the vaginal canal and you want to pull back. So the clitoris is sitting in the pelvic, up against the pelvis. And so this is the external. You're internal with your fingers, for example. You want to pull back into the pelvic bone, and you want to kind of do this come hither motion. It works really well as well with some rocking. So you want to stimulate the Skene's gland to release or experiment and see if it's possible for your body to release the Skene's gland, release the fluid. It is not the same sensation of pleasure as a climactic orgasm. So when you're having an orgasm that is climactic, it's feeling like, almost like tension is building, it's building to something and then has this crescendo release. That it's the opposite. So when we are having pleasure and stimulation of the Skene's gland, and we're experimenting with ejaculation, female ejaculation and squirting. It's actually the process of softening, of letting go. And it's the, you may even feel like instead of like this tension building, you're just actually softening and even folding out, like your labia is expanding. You might even feel this sense of openness and this surrender even through the anal tissue as well. It's this really beautiful softening. It's the opposite of constrict or constrict. I'm working up. This beautiful orgasmic wave is gonna come. It's actually this, okay, I'm allowing the waves. How can I keep letting go? How can I keep surrendering? How can this just keep happening, right? And so if we think of it even in terms of Kegels are the process, full Kegel wave is a process of holding within and then surrendering without. And so when we tighten up, we're not going to necessarily be able to access that sensation of squirting with ease. It comes with letting go. And so the process of squirting or female ejaculation can have a really, can happen in synchronicity with how well you in your general life do let yourself let go and stop holding on to control, right? There's a beautiful relationship between your sense of control and your trust in, and the sense of safety you have in letting go of that control. I didn't experience squirting until I felt it for myself far earlier, like years earlier than I was able to experience it with a partner. And it wasn't until I was with a partner that instilled a lot of safety, and I just trusted completely. And then it just happened. I was like, whoa. So there is a correlation between your sense of safety, your trust, and your ability to feel safe in the letting go of control. But the process, the anatomy, it is the Skene's gland that releases the fluid. That it's built up to protect the urethra. You can stimulate it by going second knuckle deep and dragging, or these come hither motions. A really good place to start if you haven't had this experience before is to actually squat down, and in that way you don't have any of your kind of pelvic floor engaged, and then do those come hither motions while you're in a squatting position, and just see if it's something that you can stimulate for yourself. If you like to lay on your back, prop yourself up so you're kind of in a sitting position, because the more that you can sit yourself up, the more you can disengage your core, and the pelvis can soften, so that you can access that feeling of surrender and just trusting and just letting the release, letting the let go happen. So if you've got any questions, please pop them in the comments below. If it happens for you, or if you're curious, let me know. A really beautiful tool, and I will get this for you to show. This here is the Sacred Squirter from Yoni Pleasure Palace, and I do have an affiliate link, so I'll put that in the comments below. It saves you about 10%, although they might have some really cool end of financial year sales happening. So the length of this is not dissimilar to 2 knuckles deep. The girth of this means it's really going to cover the surface area of the Skene's gland and the G-spot. And the shape of this, when it's inserted, you can really stimulate those areas on the front wall, the G-spot and the Skene's gland. So this is a really well researched, highly praised tool, and if the ridges and stuff kind of freak you out, you can also get a smooth version as well. So that's a really good tool to use if you like to be stimulated, not just with your own hands, but if you want to use a tool. But that's the basics of what female ejaculation is. It is not urine, but it can contain urine. It is just behind the G-spot. So the first knuckle is the G-spot. The second knuckle is the Skene's gland. It's the Skene's gland that releases the fluid because it builds it up to protect the urethra. And my little anatomy. So if this is the vaginal canal and that's the urethra, the Skene's gland within here fills up with fluid so that during penetrative sex or penetrative play, it's protecting the urethra. And it's the stimulation of that Skene's gland that releases the fluid in that come hither movement. But if you are struggling, if you can't get it to happen for yourself, it's a really beautiful thing to also then look at, where am I trying to control things that maybe I need to surrender into? Where am I forcing instead of allowing? And it might not just be in sexual spaces, it can be in other spaces. As women, we are very interconnected. Our work stress, our family stress, our relationship stress can impact our ability to access the pleasure in our bodies. And that's by design. We are built to nurture. So when there is stress happening in our lives, we have this primal instinct to go into service, to serve those around us, to minimize the stress and the discomfort of those around us. But it becomes our stress. And if we don't have the strategies and the processes and the routines in our days to move that energy through us, to let it go, then what we're trying to help other people avoid, the discomfort and the stress in their lives, we actually take on. Rather than helping them through it, we actually take it on. It's like we take it from them, and it's like we become an enabler, so they don't have to deal with it and we take it on. It doesn't actually go anywhere. The problem actually hasn't been solved, it's just moved. And then it becomes a block within our own body, and we deal with the stress and the chaos, and we feel very disconnected from our pleasure as a result. So if you struggle to, sorry, my light keeps going out. If you struggle with something like female ejaculation and you would really like to experience it, maybe before you even come to the touch and the exploration, you look at the way that you end your days, or you move through stress in your days, and how do you show up and experiment with what a surrendered state is? How do you let things go? Because that will directly correlate with your ability to surrender into that experience of female ejaculation. It is this beautiful wave of pleasure. It's not necessarily related to an orgasm. It is just pleasure that just continues to move and wave through you, because you keep meeting it with more and more trust, and you feel safe in that surrender. And so you stay in that place and you just keep letting go, and all the tension melts out of your body and the waves keep moving, and you quite literally are squirting and gushing and releasing and letting it all go. Very different to an orgasm that builds and crescendos. So have some fun, explore, play, watch the video back so you know like how many knuckles deep am I going and what rocking motion am I doing. And I have over the years been sent plenty of videos of people showing me photos of their puddles saying, I'm so proud of my puddle, look what I've just experienced for the first time. So if you need a safe place to be celebrated in your pleasure journey, my inbox is here for that. You are very welcome to land in my inbox knowing that it is a safe place for you to be seen and celebrated. If that's been helpful for you, let me know in the comments. If you've got more questions or curiosities, again, place them in the comments. I'm here every Thursday. Not for me, I'm here for you guys, because my sex life is pretty fantastic at the moment. But I've gone on a really deep, beautiful, long journey to get to this point, and I have a lot of wisdom to share. But there's no point sharing it if I don't know who and how and in what ways it's probably going to assist. So ask your questions, stay curious, and I will support you the best I can. And if I have gaps in my knowledge, I'll bring in some people who can help us. We're on this journey together. So thank you, ladies, and thank you for giving me a reason to bring my clitoris out for a little demo here tonight. My little anatomy tool. And if you would like to know more about the female anatomy, some real actual sex ed that actually matters, and you're local to Brisbane, on the 16th of July, I will be hosting the Anatomy of Female Pleasure workshop, where we will go through all of the spots. We'll go through the A spot, the P spot, the G spot, the Skene's gland. We will look at the left anterior wall, the right anterior wall. We will look at the relationships, the metaphysical relationships between your emotions and your sense of self, and map that to cervical health, clitoral health, G-spot health. We will look at it all. We'll look at the physical anatomy, the pleasure anatomy, the energetic anatomy, and the intuitive anatomy. And we get to do that at this really cool location in Brendale, the Barn. It is a adult play space, a BDSM room. We will have our content in the lounge room, in just purely neutral space, white walls, greenery, really lovely, really clean. You'll feel very comfortable. And then at the end of the workshop, I will open the barn doors and you will be invited to walk through the BDSM space and just do so really curiously and have a look and notice how your central nervous system is responding when you see the bondage, when you see the tools for impact play, when you see the range of dildos, when a friend who's with you, like for a laugh, ties you up against the St. Andrew's cross. Like, what is happening within your central nervous system that's either leading you to kind of curiously keep leaning in, or go, oh my God, I'm so outside my comfort zone. Nope, right? Sometimes this journey we're on is actually not about going, no, I would never do that, and actually just go, I'm curious. I actually haven't ever tried or figured out if I do or I don't. So let's go just gather some more information, some more intel along the way. All right, beautifuls, I will leave that conversation here. If you've got any questions, pop them below. Otherwise, I'll see you again next Thursday for the next edition of a Thirsty Thursday conversation here in I'm Her Inner Sanctum. For those of you who I haven't met before, my name is Jo Goddard. I am a body worker, yoni massage practitioner, and a mentor in the pleasure and sensuality space for women 35 years and over, and their partners as well. So if I can help you, answer your questions, hold space for you, all you have to do is ask. Speak to you soon, guys.